Now we're going to explore the intersections of sexuality, race, and gender. And to do that, we're going to use the song and video WAP by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. I'm assuming most people are familiar with the video, but if you haven't seen it, please stop this video and go watch it before you continue. The video has created hours and hours of commentary. Some people hold it up as a symbol of female sexual empowerment, others see it as vulgar and inappropriate. In this discussion, we're not going to be making moral judgments regarding the worth of the video. Some of you are probably uncomfortable with the language and displays of sexuality. That's pretty normal in the US, where we tend to be discomforted by sex in a way that many other societies are not. Discomfort is usually an indicator that there's something worth investigating, though. What we're going to do is examine how the complexities of identities are demonstrated in this one example of public sexuality. Let's start with the question of sexual empowerment. When we talk about sexual empowerment, we talk about someone having complete power with regards to their bodies and decisions surrounding sex and sexuality. Does WAP meet that definition? Well, yes and no. Absolutely, that's the message we're supposed to get. Much of the song is devoted to talking about what sort of features a woman wants from her male partner, a very frank declaration of sexual preferences that women are usually shamed for expressing. They're also very clearly talking about expressing their sexual agency, picking from the men they want rather than trying to appeal to men. So yes, in that way, this is a song about sexual empowerment. But there's more to it. Hip-hop has always been a more explicitly sexual genre of music. There's also an exceptionally male-dominated genre that embraces the hypermasculinity that is often expected of black men. This isn't limited to the rappers, but also includes the producers and executives involved. Because of this, women often have a very narrow space within the genre, and LGBTQ+ rappers have had a hard time breaking into the upper tiers. As with most areas of entertainment, there's also a beauty standard required of women that doesn't exist in the same way for men. Women must always be conventionally attractive. That exists in the hip-hop world as well. Women must exist within what we refer to as the male gaze, to dress and act in a way that is pleasing and arousing to men, particularly the men with power in the industry. This extends to the sexual expression allowed within the music. A great deal of hip-hop music is devoted to extolling the sexual prowess and desires of the male rappers. Male sexual agency is a given, and empowerment is a given fact. Women in hip-hop, though, have to bend the power of the male gaze in the industry. They can be just as sexually explicit, but in most cases their sexuality is displayed as an offering to men, not expressing their own desires. There are certainly exceptions to this. Missy Elliott, Kia, Nicki Minaj, and Young M.A. are good examples. They are exceptions, though. Black women's bodies have been used for sexual exploitation for as long as we've had the concept of race. From the rape of enslaved black women to Sarah Baartman, known as the Hottentot Venus, and displayed as a sexual curiosity in the early 19th century, to the Jezebel archetype, black women's sexuality has always been available for public viewing, titillation, and consumption. There's an assumption that a young black woman's body is available for the sexual desires of men, particularly white men, at any time, and that the black women involved are hypersexual and crave the sexual attention. When we examine WAP critically, it's not hard to see this exploitation playing out again. The styling, the costumes, the dances, the homoeroticism, and the lyrics follow the same pattern of hypersexualization and appealing to the male gaze. You can see this echoed in the cameos in the video as well. The black women, Normani, Ruby Rose, Mulatto, and Sukihana, are all dressed, dance, and pose in an explicitly sexual manner. By contrast, Rosalía, the Spanish flamenco pop singer, is far more covered and dances a stylized flamenco. Kylie Jenner is an interesting case. She is a white woman of completely Western European descent. However, she, along with many other members of the Kardashian family, are well known for appropriating the styles and mannerisms of Black Americans, and often monetize them for personal gain. In the WAP video, Kylie is dressed similarly to the black women who have cameo appearances, but her part consisted only of walking down the hallway and opening a door. A critical analysis suggests this is another type of appropriation, adopting the titillating sexuality of black women while shying away from the actual hypersexualization. There's a difference between the spectacle of sexual liberation and actual sexual liberation. After examining the way black women's bodies have historically been used, the role women have played in hip-hop, we need to ask a few questions about WAP and the intention behind it. Is this the sexual agency these women actually express, or is this a performance of an expectation of sexuality? If there was no expectation to appeal to the male gaze, would we see the same sort of costuming or their homoeroticism? Cardi B has expressed numerous times that what people want from her is for her to shake her ass and talk about her sexuality. And that's emphasized by the backlash she experiences when she expresses political views. So to make money, she talks a lot about sex. This amounts to a soft coercion. No one is forcing her to make hypersexual music, but she's greatly rewarded financially when she does. In many ways, this isn't much different than any other sort of sex work. The financial incentive is often worth the moral backlash. Actual sexual empowerment would allow someone to choose how to express themselves sexually, without any form of coercion. Packaging the illusion of empowerment to make money does not actually create true sexual liberation for either the entertainers or the people watching it, but instead continues to perpetuate the ideal female sexuality through the lens of the male gaze. That doesn't mean it's not media that can't be enjoyed, or that one can't find empowerment in it, but it's important to recognize when the illusion of empowerment maintains the status quo. I've included links to my sources here if you'd like to look into this further. There are also a few more videos in the playlist that talk about some of the issues if you'd like to dig deeper into these ideas. For even more information, I highly recommend the works of Tressie McMillan Cottom. She's excellent at exploring sexuality through the lens of race and gender.